Hey everybody, it's Clay Obley here, and today we're going to do something a little bit different in After Effects. First off, I wanted to say that I've started a new channel where I just kind of mess around in games and zombie, horror, survival games. You can go ahead and click this here. I'm sure I'll put an annotation and go check it out. I just started it, so there's like only one episode. But anyway, what this has to do with today's tutorial is the intro I made, and we'll go ahead and take a look, and we'll teach you guys some things.
Hello? Ah! I shouldn't have eaten that rotten kiwi.
Alright, so all the fart jokes aside, let's go ahead and open After Effects. And today's tutorial, you will only need one plugin, which is free. It is the Inverse Kinematics plugin from Duik.net. The Duik plugin, you can go up to Duik.net and After Effects, download. You can pay for this plugin if you feel like it's really changed your life. You can go ahead and donate to the developer, which is really cool. So we'll go ahead and first off, we should probably talk about what you'll do with that plugin. So you'll download the plugin, and let's see, go into your directory for After Effects and supporting files, scripts, and script UI panels, and you will place the Duik plugin in this folder. The instructions that come with it are in French, so really all you need to do is go into the folder where the Duik plugin is and just drag and drop it here. Okay, so here we are in the project. And first I'll just kind of show you how it was made in 2.5D, so it was just 3D in After Effects with 2D layers. So if we can just take a look. Very simple. Very simple. I just blurred out the actual background image, cut the image so that there was a foreground, added some particular particles, put a light in there just to kind of give it some soft edges, or like a vignette. So okay, so let's take a look at the character, and I'm gonna break this up into a couple different tutorials because it is pretty it gets pretty intensive at some parts, but once you get used to the flow, I find that it's really pretty easy. Okay, so these null objects are tied to the specific rig, so whenever I move it around in real time, it moves. You can also rotate, so if you wanted to rotate the leg. You can get really crazy with adding bones and making it, as in depth as you want. But for the purposes of this intro, I just kind of, drew the shapes. Everything was colored and shaped here in After Effects, so you don't have to go into Photoshop or do any of that stuff. Also, you can I did some facial rigging here so that I can move his eyes, keyframe this null, so it's pretty easy with actually keyframing and animating. Once you get it rigged up, I mean, there's so much that you can do. So I got some, it's really high or something right now. So I've rigged eyelids. You don't have to do that. It just is one of those things that you can kind of, like, each eyebrow is separate up here. It gives you a little bit more control. So it's pretty cool. And then here, what do I got here? Oh yeah, I've done a couple little custom nulls where I would move them and it would change the hand position and what hand is. Let's see, here we go. Also, this thing here, this is a very bare bones thing. I just kind of put this circle in here so that I knew what horizontal plane I needed to be in. This is for controlling the mouth, but we won't get into any of this stuff here until later tutorials. What we're going to do in this tutorial is talk about rigging the head, the whole body, and we probably won't even include a weapon or anything like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and start a new After Effects project. And first thing we're going to do is go to File. We're going to run our script. So let's go to File, Scripts, Run Script File. There's our Duik script. First thing, something I didn't mention before, when you drag your Duik script over into the Script UI Panels folder, it'll come with another folder called the Duik Icons. You want to drag that also into the scripts folder, so it will be one step above the actual plugin. So let's go ahead and run the script. Alright, this little jazzy window will pop up here, and so we got it running. Everything's cool. If you got an error, then you might want to go back to the website and verify that you did everything correctly. Okay, so let's begin with making a new composition. And I'm just going to go ahead and make it we'll make it 720p just so that it's a little less intensive. 30 seconds is fine. We'll do 23. Okay, so you can set it up any way that you want, depending on where you're from and what gets your goat, whatever gets it. Okay, so let's begin with making a head, and you want to do all of these on separate layers. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the Roto Bezier just so that I don't have to deal with, you know, see, it's going to make everything all kind of nice looking ish. So I'm just going to, for the sake of this tutorial, make something very simple and generic. Later on we'll add things to it and make it somewhat pretty, but we're just gonna make this character orange because that's what the default color was, and I'm not gonna change it. Okay, so this is the head. So another thing that you need to be sure of is labeling each layer and staying keeping up on that, because you'll start to get a lot of layers eventually, and it gets very confusing. So what I'm doing here now is changing the anchor point to where actually I'm not gonna mess with that right now. So I'm gonna put it here, but we're gonna probably move it in the future. Okay, so let's continue on with the rest of the body, and I'm gonna speed up this process and then go over after I'm done. Okay, so we're done creating our creature guy thing here, and I'm going to show you. I'm sure you probably have a lot of questions on how I'm supposed to do this. What you're supposed to do is, let me go ahead and lower the opacity of everything so you can see. Everything's going to overlap where you want the joint to overlap. So let's take a look at the arm here. So I made an upper arm its own layer, I made the lower arm its own layer, and the hand its own layer. And what we're going to do with the anchor points, and this goes along with every kind of part of the rig here, especially the head. So let's go with the head first. Where I want the head to rotate, like where the neck would kind of rotate, and I've set it up to only have just the head rotate. You can make the neck its own separate kind of like arm, and have it rotate along the top of the body. But for the purposes of this, I'm just going to make it rotate here. For the arm, let's have it rotate there. You want to think about the overlapping part, and when you move the arm, it's going to kind of show what's behind it in some weird angles and stuff. So you'll have a little bit of experimenting to do. With the elbow, it's good to go right in the middle, and the wrist, it doesn't matter too much as long as it has some bleeding room, so that it won't, when you bend the wrist, that it won't show the let's just see when I bend in the wrist, it looks decent. So we'll go with that, and let's go ahead and set the anchor points of everything else, and I'll let you watch so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. And what I've made here is a pelvis and upper chest. That way like bending over is a lot easier, looks a lot better. So we'll go ahead and put it there, and the pelvis doesn't matter too much. We'll put it right here at the center of gravity, and the leg, the top leg, and I've labeled them down here, left upper leg, left lower leg, left foot, and so on, left hand or right hand. Actually, these are messed up a little bit because I've duplicated. Once you make one leg, you can just duplicate it and move it over, unless you want to change the footing, or how the foot looks. But just for the easiness of this, we're gonna have to go ahead and make this right. So we got a right leg. Let's get rid of that too. And which one is this? This is all right. It does pay to have all this organized well, and you can even, what I normally do is color code, and that does not. Let's make it pink. And the legs we'll just make red. Head I like to make yellow because you'll use that a lot later. Chest and pelvis can be blue still. Okay, so that helps you kind of differentiate the sections. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue moving our anchor points. They're all about right. Okay, so they're done. Now we can start the fun part. Let's go ahead and bring up the opacity again. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with pairing the legs. Like the foot, the left foot needs to be linked to the lower left leg. The lower left leg needs to be linked to the upper leg. And so on. Right foot to the lower right leg. Lower right leg to the lower, or the upper right leg. Right hand to the lower, lower to the upper. Left hand to the lower, lower to the upper. And that's that for now. And let's go ahead and then take the lower, or the upper left leg to the pelvis. And along with the right upper to the pelvis. Alright, so now let's take the left foot, and we'll go up and open up our Duik tools, and we'll go ahead and make this a, I wish I would quit doing that, a controller. So we'll make a controller there, and let's go ahead and click the right foot, make a controller. Alright, here we go. The left foot, I want you to click the left foot, hold control or command, and then click the lower, upper, and then our first null was that controller. Alright, so you have all those selected in that order. So the lower foot, the lower leg, and then the upper leg, and then the null. You'll click that, and we'll go and click it. Whoa, did anything happen? I don't know. Let's go ahead and click our null, and oh, whoa, that guy's got some awesome flexibility. Alright, so you're wondering about that. If that happens to you, go ahead and click on the effects controls, and you'll go ahead and hit this checkbox. It'll change the orientation in which it rotates. There we go. Wow, look at that. That's cool. So you can rotate it, rotate the null, and yeah, so that is in essence what you're going to be doing to each limb. So what we can do now with these are go ahead and shy them, lock them, and boom. Now we don't even have to think about the rest of those layers. All we have to think about is that controller. So this is I kind of like to clean up as I go along. So let's go ahead and do the right foot. So right foot, right lower, oops, here we go. Right foot, right lower, right upper, and then that null that we created. IK creation. Let's go ahead and just click on that null. It's backwards as well, but everything looks like it's doing pretty decent. You can see here that the what you want to do ideally is make a circle, complete circle in the joints. So if you made this a complete circle, then whenever you rotate the joint, it wouldn't show as much. But we're just kind of hastily making this. So we'll bring that back up. And let's go ahead and hit the checkbox to change the orientation. And there we go. So that looks good as well. So let's go ahead and shy these layers and lock them. Okay, let's go ahead and shy them. Okay, so let's put this back. And let's continue on with the rest of the body. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the left hand. We'll go ahead and create a controller. So let's click the left hand, left lower, left upper, and the controller. And IK creation. Let's go ahead and move it. Looks good. So we can rotate. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on our right arm, and let's do that. So we got our right hand, make a controller. So let's click our right hand, control lower, upper, controller, and IK creation. Let's move that. Cool, looking good. Rotate. Very cool. It's starting to actually come together. Okay, so let's go ahead and shy those layers, and we'll go ahead and lock them as well. Alright, so now we're coming down to the ends. Alright, so we need to first off go ahead and pick whip the head to the chest to the pelvis. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and go back to the layers that we locked. And let's see, that's a goal. We're going to take our right upper arm. Make sure that our the upper arms are parented to the chest, and the upper legs are parented to the pelvis. So let's go ahead and look at our upper leg, pelvis, upper leg, pelvis, good. All right, looking good. Okay, so we've got our guy here, and now we need to do our last couple controllers, and these controllers are going to be a little bit different. So we'll go ahead and make a controller on the pelvis, and let's duplicate that. Paste, paste, 2 times. One we're going to make into a master, and one we're going to make into a chest. Master we can go ahead and drag down here below its feet, and that's exactly what it is named. It's going to be master. We're going to parent mostly everything to it so we can move the character around if we need to. The chest we can go ahead and move up anywhere up here in the shoulder area, and that should be that. Alright, so there's one last thing I forgot to do. We need to take our pelvis and make sure that it's paired up with the pelvis controller, and go ahead and back lock that. And so let's start moving things around, and that's looking pretty good. That's looking pretty good. Way, wee, cool. Okay, and our master moves everything. That's looking good. Alright, so we have our character rigged, and it's starting to look pretty cool, and a couple little things that you can add to the movement just to keep an idle movement and you don't have to keyframe it is, let's go ahead and take our hands and open up, hit P, open up their position. We're going to alt click on the stopwatch on the position and type in a expression, wiggle. Let's do 0.2 and 8. We'll go ahead and copy this, copy that, and alt click on the stopwatch with the left hand and paste. Cool. Let's see how this looks here. Alright, so maybe a little bit too subtle, or maybe that's as subtle as you want it, but you can see that it's kind of slowly moving. You can even do that with the rotation, add the expression to the rotation. So let's see, let's go ahead and bring up the rotation, and I'll click on the stopwatch, I'll click on this stopwatch and paste. Let's not make that so drastic. Let's make that 3, and let's go ahead and go back to the position, and let's go ahead and change this maybe to like 12. Okay, we'll do that, and we'll actually, let's go ahead and copy that same expression again since we just changed it. Copy, let's add it to the pelvis. You can create some interesting just movements, and actually we just did that. Some interesting movements, just adding some wiggle expressions to some of the parameters with the head, maybe the rotation. Let's add, he's gonna look really drunk. Okay, so let's go ahead and see how this guy looks now. Looks pretty cool. He's kind of just like chilling, maybe listening to some, I don't know what he's doing. I think he's drunk. Yep. So cool. Well, this concludes, wow, he's dancing really fast. This concludes this first part of the tutorial. We've successfully rigged a character. The next tutorials we can go over facial rigging. We can go over actually animating like walks and other little nuances that you want to add to make it however you want to make it. That's the cool thing, is you can set all these expressions and controllers to different things and really get inventive and creative with it. Okay guys, so that's the end of this tutorial. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe. Make sure you give it a thumbs up or thumbs down, doesn't matter. And if you have a question, leave it below and I'll try and answer it in the next tutorial. Alright, so this has been Clay Obley. I will see you on the next one.